Narcissist parents intentionally protecting golden child from their bullshit. This is the most devastating part of the abuse for me, the fact that they are intentionally raising my sister as normal as possible while bringing chaos to the rest of us lives. Mine especially. It is also how I found out that their abuse is premeditated. They'd always apologize to me for failing to do this or that, claiming that they just don't know but will do the opposite for my sister. For example, my parents are not graduates. But on my sister's graduation, they made sure to come on time, invites family members, bring flowers, and cheer. While mine was a mess. I had to pretty much do most things on my own. My mother even told my dad not leave work to attend. Usually, in most dysfunctional home, the golden child is spoiled, given everything she asks for, allowed to mess up and be protected. But in this case, my mom is intentionally trying to raise her to be a great individual by raising her the textbook way, by showing up at events in her life, by letting father get involved too, by encouraging everyone around her to love and respect her/see her in a good light, by providing an extra hand when she needs one, by teaching her independence from a young age, etc. This is her intention. She is being molded to be a success while they are trying to mold me to be a failure or at least look like one. Another crushing part is that she is rating my sister to be me. Because most of the things she does to my sister are the things I always suggested even without reading a book. By watching Friends, I learned what a family should be like, and I would always point out what I wanted or would try to raise myself that way, but what she does is to take so much of my character, desires, energy, etc. and gives to my sister. For example, it was recommended I skip a grade in elementary school. My mom then skipped my sister 2 grades, then went around calling her a prodigy. I also share similar characteristics with my dad, and I'm also the first girl child. First girls tend to be daddy's girls in most cases. However, she had forced my sister and dad to be like pals. She does around saying that they are and have always been very close. She encourages my dad to give her special treatment, to call her regularity, to show up despite his busy schedules, etc. My dad is beginning to believe the lies. As for me, she separated us, makes him view me as the wayward one, makes sure he never shows up at any event in my life. My father is alive, my parents are together, but I can relate to children who do not have father figures in their lives. Now they are both believing the lies. I am older than my sis, and in my culture, older siblings, daughters to be precise, have a special place in the home as second leaders to the parents. However, she tries to raise us like twin with her being the older one. She makes my sister responsible for the household, for distributing money, booking flight tickets, gives ideas that are taken seriously. Once, she suggested I start wearing my sister's old clothes. I never complied with any of this rubbish, and whenever I confronted her, she'll begin her talk of sibling relay and envy and how I should stop envying my perfect sister. She makes sure that whatever goal my sister worked towards, this little disturbance and full support, even if it's from only she and my dad. She made sure my sister graduated high school at 14, college at 19, with honors, and work at 19, likely master by 21. She also makes sure that there is no pressure on my sister. She allows my sis do other aspects of life. She also makes sure to make my siblings view her in good light. So I doubt my sister is under any pressure. In fact, by sabotaging me, my mom uses me as an encouragement for my sis. My sis is in the completion too, but my mom makes sure not to get her hands dirty. My mom is doing the dirty work for her by sabotaging me while sister continues to climb the ladder. My mom leaves me in a situation where I have to defend myself, then goes out to defend the other party. With my sister, she makes sure my sister does not say an inch, and instead, she intervenes, etc. She makes sure my sister is respected, but with she's always confiding in others about how I'm just not talking to her that way. It's all that people know of me. I've developed anxiety because of this. No real support. She makes sure my sister is good. My mom's goal is to make me not only to look like, but also be nothing more than a pretty face. That is the role she wants me to play in the family. I'm sure you all have seen those Kardashian of a family. Those females who are always subject only to mockery and contempt by everyone yet loved unconditionally by their helpless parents. She's usually the lazy, unstable, unintelligent one who care about her looks, who are bratty, etc. This is the role I am supposed to play, and she wants me to be okay and content with it. It's like the identified patient role who everyone is trying to fix. Honestly, it scares me because this whole thing is building up, and you know what they say, if you state a lie several times, eventually it becomes the truth. This form of abuse is the subtlest because my parents try to, should I say, shove it down my throat? Feed it to me? They want me to accept this dynamic of things. They want theirs to accept this too, and I am beginning to see others accept this. When I confront them, they make it seem like I'm angry about just one problem. Oh, so that's it? You're angry that I wanted to give you your sister's old clothes? Okay, I'll buy you new ones. I hope this has solved it. Or, you are very envious. Goodness. They make sure my sister's name or case is never mentioned in front of others. They make sure her name is not related to all the mess going on. It reminds me of Janet Terbusky, a narcissistic mother who murdered her first daughter and enlisted her golden child to help. Here's what she said in court. My actions were just egregious. Taking my daughter's body, I was not in my right mind, and placing her in a field in North Ridgeville. Forgetting my other daughter, who was just going about her business in college, and involving her in helping to move her sister's body. Janet eventually took a plea that helped Hannah avoid the jail time. She didn't want Hannah tarnished by all the nonsense. Hannah herself has never spoken about the incident or against her mother till this day. Anyway, they'd intentionally sabotage everything I have tried to work towards. I do not want to sound arrogant, but I do believe that I'm the most brilliant or at least driven of my siblings, but have nothing to show for it. Instead, although a lot of people who meet me are stunned by my maturity and great ideas, they are also taken aback by my childlike state. They want me to play along as long as they give me money and shelter. But I reject this nonsense because this is not reality. This is not my reality. My sister sees me as the golden child and herself as the scapegoat, and I think it's the reason we will never get along. This might be an odd thing to post as the person who identifies as the younger sibling of someone with CPTSD, but I hope it's still allowed. My sister and I do not get along. Neither of us are perfect people, and I think mood disorders run in the family, so there are a lot of angry outbursts, but my older sister occasionally throws in a couple psychology terms into our argument that I brushed off as her attempt to get into my head and doubt myself, but I decided to actually read up on the things she's saying. Her favorite thing to do is talk about how she's the scapegoat of the family and I'm the golden child, and I know she resents me because of the way my mom treated her. She also did therapy apparently, and told me she has CPTSD. I don't have anything other than diagnosed ADHD. I found an article on Google talking about the scapegoat and golden child sibling dynamic, and honestly, it makes me so unbelievably frustrated and angry. Reading the article and thinking about the things she has said to me, I am almost certain that she looked at this article and decided to frame every single action of mine, our entire lives, through the framework of I am the scapegoat. This is how my narcissist mom and golden child sister are abusing me. I don't have clear memories of my childhood. I remember making myself invisible and trying to fade into the background because my sister would have loud, lengthy emotional outbursts whenever she perceived that she wasn't being listened to. See, every single minor disagreement with my parents, including but not limited to getting ice cream with our burgers at McDonald's. And she would get angry with me and holds it against me that I wouldn't insert myself or back her up in these fights because the idea that I didn't agree with her or I didn't think going to the amusement park was worth spending 4 hours in the car screaming and crying never even occurs to her. I was barely even a person with preferences. Getting to pick a fast food restaurant I liked has never been worth the potential for a disagreement in my family where screaming fits are triggered at the drop of a dime, especially not when I could just go home and play with my dolls and genuinely have a great time. When I don't want to help her argue and yell at my parents to take us on vacation, she sees it as me deliberately being a buzzkill because I enjoy sucking up to our parents because I'm the favorite kid. I don't think it has ever occurred to her that the idea of going on a trip destined to be ruined by arguments and crying is the opposite of my idea of a good time when I don't even like going to the beach anyways. I avoided my sister my entire childhood and still do to this day. She wanted me to be the picture of the loving and fun, spontaneous sister she sees on TV, and it really feels like she blames me for not giving her that romanticized sibling relationship she would have loved to have had. I don't think she has the ability to understand that I have never seen her as someone I could be comfortable or myself around. I have always hated being around her despite loving her and caring about her, because she makes me feel so small and she doesn't know how to handle any evidence that I'm an actual person and not the personification of our mom's unfair treatment towards her. We attempted to build on our relationship from time to time, but it always ends in flames, especially whenever I try to assert boundaries. I told her I wasn't comfortable sitting in the grass after a rainy day because I'm sensitive to mosquito bites and the area was swarming with bugs, and she refused to take me seriously at all and acted like I was a stupid child complaining about the flavor of ice cream I was getting. She would ask me to take photos of her for her Instagram as her way of connecting with me because I took one photography class in high school, and would spend the entire time berating me for not having this innate sense of style and fashion she expected me to have. If we didn't have fun on our sister trip, we never have fun on sister trips unless it's an extremely controlled environment where there is no potential for disagreements, like a restaurant. To her, it's because I refused to understand which angles were the most flattering while my sister was putting so much effort into us. See, she fits the traits of the scapegoat pretty fucking well, I will admit, but the article pisses me off to no end. My sister is an awful communicator. Her idea of a conversation is her yelling and ranting and going on long tangents while no one is allowed to interrupt her, and then she storms off having made her point because she doesn't actually care what the other person has to say. She sees this as retribution for growing up and being emotionally damaged by no one listening to what she has to say. She doesn't know who I am as a person because I have avoided her my entire life, and I have had it reinforced through her consistent disregard for my feelings and personhood that my life is better when I engage with her as little as possible. Any positive feelings I have for her only exist because I limit my exposure to her callous treatment of myself as much as possible. So of course, when she sees this article that applies to her experience, she sees how the golden child is depicted as the ignorant one who has to grow and improve themselves in order for anything to get better, and runs with it. Every single thing I do, every disagreement, every time she sees me having a healthy conversation or having lighthearted moments with our parents, every time I take my parents' side or they take my side, every time I have my own emotional outbursts or show anger or sadness, it's all evidence to her. If the entire family comes together and tells her she's in the wrong about anything, it's never a wake-up call, it's her oppression fantasy come to life, and it makes her stronger in her conviction that she's being deeply wronged. Anyways, FUCK that article for feeding her worldview and victim complex. She threw a snide. You said you have ADHD, right? Yeah, I heard stimulants don't work well on people with borderline personality disorder. What's that clinic you used? PFF, you're sure they're reputable? At me yesterday. Yeah. For the record, I am actively going to therapy and can safely say no, I don't have BPD, and yes, I do have ADHD. I don't want to stoop down to her level, but I'm wondering how much of that is projection. Thank you for reading.